Do we have book? Let's see. Okay, I apologize, everybody. Thanks to Mike Ehlers. He brought in his sounds, no sound. Okay, I will start over from the beginning now. What we've got here is, I'm going to have to change the batteries also because they're dying. And there's a mute switch on the top of these things. These are TV mics so that if you have to cough, you can hit the mute switch. And now you can hear me again. And that mute switch, which isn't very visible, was switched. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start all over. All right. So I apologize to everybody. There's a lot of good practice talking. So we'll start all over right now. Okay, tomorrow is a first alert weather day. First alert weather day because we've got the remnants of Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene will bring us high winds, heavy rains. It'll bring us power outages, tree damage, probably some roof damage. Also, with the power outages, may come traffic signals that are out, so it could be a really, really nasty day around the tri-state. Now, not nearly as nasty as it's going to be down to the south. Okay, what I want to show you here. Okay, and I assume you can all hear me. Thanks if you're sticking with me. Thanks for your patience, and thanks to Mike Ehlers, our assignment editor, who walked in from the newsroom to let me know that we had problems. Okay, so this, back in 1969 in August, it was Hurricane Camille. Okay, it was a record setter at that time. It's been eclipsed by other stronger storms, and it generated a storm surge of 24 feet. This is the Richelieu apartment complex, and to know about this, right here's a road. You go across that road and you're on the beach at the Gulf of Mexico. So this is southern Mississippi. So this is what the Richelieu apartments looked like before the 24-foot storm surge that was generated by Camille. Okay, now the storm surge forecast for the Big Bend area of Florida is 20 feet, so it's not that much lower than this. It's still going to be catastrophic if it gets that high. And so there we have it right there, the Richelieu apartments. Now, that's the Richelieu apartments before Camille. Let's take a look at the Richelieu apartments after Camille. Gone. Okay, now there are accounts. There was one person who claims to have been on the second floor that was found 20 miles inland, got washed by the water 20 miles inland and somehow survived. A few people did die. Most of the people evacuated and went elsewhere. That's why they're so worried about the storm surge in the Big Bend area of Florida. It's not that much lower. It's expected to reach 20 feet in spots. So this was only 24 feet, and that was a well-built brick building. That's why they're calling it a life-threatening situation. Okay, here's the rainfall for us. You can see radar with plenty of rainfall coming around the horn. We're already seeing the effects of Helene coming our way. Notice the movement like this. It's around the circulation of that big hurricane. And if you remember last evening at this time, we saw wind gusts on the east coast of Florida, the Atlantic coast, being affected by Helene, which was down by Cancun, and over in Texas. So there was a 1,000-mile stretch where we had the effects of Helene being felt. Helene is still about 130 miles off the coast of Florida, and so it's a long way away, but we're already beginning to see this is all light rain, drizzles, nothing big. We will get some heavier rainfall overnight. And if you zoom in, you can see that most of it's light green. That says drizzle, cloud level moisture, maybe a sprinkle. Some of it's a little heavier enough to get the ground wet, but whatever rain we get now is really, really helpful. Okay? Now, if we go on to the south and take a look at Hurricane Helene, there it is right there. There's the center of it, and it's a powerful, powerful hurricane. Tornado watch is in effect from south of Tampa all the way up into South Carolina. And then there's already flooding reported here along the coast. It doesn't take long. I mean, the center of the storm is right here. When the center of the eye crosses the coast, that's what landfall is. Okay, so before it's officially on shore, a lot of this part of the storm is causing wind and rain damage already. Okay, and there's already been in some spots in the southern Appalachians already been 10 inches of rainfall. And so not only will there be catastrophic damage across the panhandle of Florida through Tallahassee, on into Georgia, there will be flooding, and that flooding will extend into the southern Appalachians, the higher elevations of eastern Tennessee, the higher elevations of northern Georgia, the western part of the Carolinas. And so right now, just as flood advisories, warnings, and watches, there are 11 million people in the eastern United States that are under those kind of statements. So this is a big, big storm. Okay, let's go ahead. Zoom in a little bit, and there's the eye right there. There's the arrow. Now, I put the arrow on a while ago, so it's already this far. So it's about 120 miles off the coast here. And so we're talking about, if you kind of measure that out and time it out, that would put landfall somewhere around 12:30 a.m. Eastern time. It's a Category 4 storm. Okay, winds at 130 miles an hour, gusts to 155 miles an hour. And take a look at this. It's going to come on shore around Perry, Florida. It's going to batter Tallahassee. They're saying that there could be people in the Tallahassee area without power for more than 3 weeks, in the worst case scenario. It will maintain Category 2 hurricane strength all the way into southern Georgia. Landfall to this point is about 150 miles. So whenever you get a big, big, powerful storm like this, it takes longer for it to wind down. Just like if you're riding a motorcycle down a steep hill, it'll coast pretty fast, but when you have to brake, it doesn't take that much. But if you're taking a loaded semi down that same hill, it's got a lot more momentum. It takes a lot longer to break it down. And so the same thing. So from here to here, 150 miles, still a Category 2 with 105 mile an hour winds Friday at 2 a.m. In southern Georgia. Okay, after that, it heads up and goes right through the metro Atlanta area. It will be down to tropical storm strength by the time it reaches Knoxville. So somewhere in here, it drops down to a Cat 1, then to a tropical storm. But that means big problems for the Atlanta area, a big metro area with a lot of wind and a lot of rainfall. Heads up over Knoxville, and then it kind of bends around and kind of stops here and just kind of treads water, so to speak, in the western part of Kentucky, western Tennessee. And that's where it's going to cause a lot of rainfall in this part of Kentucky. For us, we're just on the margin of it, but we'll get our share of wind and rain also. All right, so, and let's see here. All right, let's look at this full screen. Okay, now what you've got, here's what it looks like on the latest model, and this model's been doing a really good job with this. Okay, the scattered showers as we head into the overnight will turn into more steady rainfall, so there's a feeder band of steady, sometimes heavy rain that extends from out of our viewing area across Hillsborough, Wilmington, Lebanon, the northern part of Claremont and Brown counties, on into Hamilton and Butler counties. Okay, that's at 2 a.m. There's some more down to the south that's coming in, so let's watch what happens there. Now this, just like everything else, this is going to swing back to the north and west. So let's put this in full screen. So it swings back to the north and west so that by 5 a.m. that band of heavy rain extends from Carrollton to Versailles to Brookville on up into the Dayton area. Okay, notice though what's happening as we head toward the morning commute. It's beginning to dry out. There's a lot of dry air coming in here. And if you think about it, you always see hurricanes, you see those feeder bands, you see an arced band of rainfall, dry area, and another arced band of rainfall. That's exactly what's happening here. Here's a feeder band around Helene. Here's the dry area in between feeder bands. So where's the next feeder band? Well, this is 5 a.m., so let's take a look. Here comes the next one right there, and what you'll see here is the rain really kind of tapers off. I mean, there's some light rain falling. There'll be some ponding on the roadways and that. And remember, we're just talking rain now. We will be talking wind in a minute. So you will have a combination of some light rain and wind, but nothing really heavy. No torrential, blinding rainfall for the morning commute. And here comes the next feeder band. So this is at 9 a.m. It's already moving toward Owenton, Mount Olivet, and Vanceburg. There you see the heavy rainfall by noon. Okay, if I put myself back on camera here, here's the heavy rainfall by noon back into Owenton, Dry Ridge, Falmouth, Brooksville, Maysville, Vanceburg, West Union, Georgetown. Okay, now again, that band is going to do the same thing. It's going to swing back like this around the circulation of the hurricane. So if we take a look at it, there it goes. So by 2 p.m., so during the afternoon hours, we've got a band of heavy rain from Versailles and Carrollton through Lawrenceburg, Patriot, Cincinnati, north of Alexandria into the Hamilton and Brookville areas, moving into Lebanon, Wilmington, Hillsborough, Batavia, and some more heavy rain already coming back into the tri-state from Brooksville to Georgetown to West Union to Vanceburg, Maysville, and Mount Olivet. All right, back to full screen, and you'll notice that band of rain will move to the northwest. There you go, and look. As we head to 3:30, widespread heavy rainfall in most of the Fox 19 Now viewing area. And by 5 o'clock, it's still going, so that means a slow homebound commute. And again, we haven't talked about the winds yet. And then it does dry out as we head into the evening. So if they don't cancel high school football, looks like as we go through the evening, conditions will improve, but there may be some high school football fields that just have had too much water and won't dry out. There may be power outages to deal with. There may be a lot of issues here from the weather that comes before this. So even though it's beginning to look better for high school football, I anticipate there'll be a number of games canceled. And this still looks pretty bad at football time. So Connorsville to Brookville to Hamilton, Batesville, Versailles, Lawrenceburg, you might not be able to get the games in there at all. And again, that's one of those things you have to talk to the people that are in charge of that for doing. And then as we head into the overnight, Saturday morning, some more showers, but lighter, and the winds die down quite a bit. So it looks like the worst of it from noon until maybe 8 or 9 o'clock on Friday. This particular model is saying 2 to 3 inches in the darker red in Cincinnati, 3 to 5 in that kind of lighter color of red. And so most of us will see 2 to 3 inches, maybe a few spots that have a thunderstorm will get a little bit more. Okay. And some spots in particular, maybe according to this model, Connorsville 1.68, Middletown 1.69, just under 2 inches in Wilmington, but 2.7 in Owenton, 3.06 in Vevey, 2.67 in Falmouth. That's the European model. Now, when models begin to agree, that's when you begin to take them seriously and kind of focus in on specifics. So let's take a look at the American model says, and it says, it's got more here in the south, and so, but they're not that far apart. So it's saying a large area from Lawrenceburg to Georgetown to West Union and south, a lot of those areas over 3 inches of rainfall, and that fits with what we're seeing. Okay, now talk about the winds. Start this off at 12:30 a.m. And so we've got winds 29, 32 miles an hour. Not bad. I mean, those are typical wind gusts for a breezy day, but it does begin to get worse. So let's head toward the morning commute. By 7 a.m., we don't have any wind gusts to 40 yet, but we do have the upper 30s. So along with that light rain and the ponding on the roads from the earlier rain, and we're going to have some wind, which will tend to blow things around. So it adds up to a slow morning commute, but not unbelievably slow, just based on the weather. Okay, there could be one wreck, and that could make it really slow down. But overall, if we head now to 3 p.m., look at this. Now, this model is the model that is the worst case scenario. Okay, the worst case scenario model has us getting 69 mile an hour gusts. Now these aren't sustained winds, these are just a brief gust in Mason, 70 in Wilmington, 63 in Batavia, 64 in Harrison, Hamilton at 65. The only two spots that have wind gusts under 60 miles an hour, Dry Ridge and Maysville, and that's a big problem. With wind gusts like this, that means tree limbs down, that means power lines down, and power outages just from the wires flapping around. That could mean roof damage. We have to add one other factor to this. Sometimes the key to how bad a storm is going to be is what's happened before. Okay, and in this case, we've had a long drought with dry weather, and a lot of trees are moisture stressed. Okay, and so a lot of the limbs, the tree can't transport. When there's not much moisture, it can't transport it to the higher levels of the tree, and so a lot of tree limbs have died off and they're brittle. And so these winds, when they would typically be a problem, will be amplified in their severity by the fact that we've had that drought, and there are a lot of trees that aren't in very good shape. So you can anticipate tree damage, roof damage, you can anticipate power outages from the winds and from the effects on trees around the area. So it's not a good situation. Now, as we head on into the evening hours, notice the winds die down pretty quickly. By 7 a.m. Saturday, wind gust from 25 to 30 miles an hour. And so Saturday looks like we're out of danger with really bad weather. Okay, now we talked about the drought monitor, and I don't know why this didn't update, but I tell you what, we're not going to talk about the drought monitor right now. Let's just go ahead and talk about the extended outlook. So now the Climate Prediction Center is saying we're going to be in an area that is near normal through the 6th of October, temperature-wise. a little warmer than normal through the 10th and warmer than normal through the 24th. Now this particular graphic, this one right here, will be updated during the day tomorrow, and so we'll have to see how that changes. But we still look like, because of all the moisture and the hurricane effects, we're going to have a period of near normal weather, and then we're going to warm back up as we head into October. Okay? Precipitation-wise, it still looks drier than normal from the 2nd through the 6th. Looks drier than normal through the 10th. It looks drier than normal as we head to the 24th, and this is the graphic that will be updated during the day tomorrow. Also, it's only updated once a week. The others are updated daily. So we are talking about going back into dry weather after the hurricane. So here is your 7-day forecast. 67 and 73 for tonight and tomorrow. Tomorrow, a first alert weather day for all the effects of what's left of Helene. A few showers are possible Saturday, a few showers on Sunday, and then it looks like a few showers could fall Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Back to sunny and dry weather on Thursday. And then if you look at the next 7 days after that, it looks like we've got an 8-day dry streak taking us through the 10th of the month, and temperatures near normal. A little bit above to a little bit below normal around the tri-state. Okay. And for those of you that stuck with me when you couldn't hear me, so... okay, just a minute here. What we're going to do then is we're going to take a look at comments and that from our Facebook page. And what we have here is, let's see. Hey, I'll have to call you back. I'm live on the air here. Okay, let's take a look and see what's going on with our Facebook comments. Alrighty, so... let's see, go to the first. Okay, all the comments about sound. I should begin to check at the very beginning, and maybe I'll do that from here on out. Can't hear you, can't hear you, can't hear you. And all so, let's see. Let's see. We had Nick Fisher. Is there another dry spell like last a few weeks expected after the hurricane? The answer is yes. We expect a dry spell beginning at the end of the 7 days, so by the 3rd, we should dry out, and we should stay dry at least through the 10th. Now, I don't know if it'll last for as long. All right. Okay, what's the sustained winds? Okay, that nice. Rachel Turco said, what's the sustained winds? And Rachel, that is a really good question. Okay, the sustained winds will be 25 to 35 miles an hour. And those gusts as high as 60 in a few spots, maybe 70 here. So, so that's a good question. Let's see, what else do we have here? And then Carla Wood says, let's hope the electric doesn't go out. I'm afraid it may. Yay, Hillsboro's going to get a little rain. Hillsboro may get a couple inches of it, and it may fall slowly enough to soak in. So overall, that is what we are looking at. Okay. Brittany Miller. Okay, and okay, it's 7:57, and I've got an 8 o'clock thing I've got to do. So Clearwater, Florida. Well, I think Clearwater. Some storm surge. They've had some wind gusts to 70 today, Susan. But overall, they're far enough to the south that they're not going to get a direct hit by that. Okay? Susan Wally says her daughter lives in Paris, Kentucky. They're under a wind warning with possible 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Yeah, and we're saying 70 up here. Oh, you saw that model output. And that's another interesting thing I should have mentioned. For those of you that are in Robertson County, they have, and Mason County, they've canceled school for tomorrow for Mason County schools and for Robertson County schools. Now, if you go to a private school or anything that's not one of those, that may not affect you. But if you live in Mason or Robertson counties and you have school-age kids, make sure that you check that out. And they've done that from an abundance of caution, and I salute them for that, because you don't want to mess with this stuff. All right. So, okay, so again, I apologize to everybody for the problem with the audio. It's that mute switch. I hit that thing all the time. And from here on out, what I'll do is I'll open up a window here so I can see comments. So if you tell me that you can't hear me, I can fix it rather than go for 20 minutes and give you kind of like the old silent treatment. So that's it for now. Thank you for joining me. I got to run. We'll talk more about hurricane, the hurricane that's coming our way Helene tomorrow, and by tomorrow at this time we should begin to see the stuff wind down. But we'll be through the whole thing. Tomorrow morning at 4:30 a.m., it's Frank Marzullo, Catherine Bodak's with him during the morning show. It'll be Catherine Bodak and myself during the afternoon, and we may have a guest appearance by meteorologist Ashley Smith if the weather gets bad enough and we need some extra help. So thank you for letting me know, and you guys have a nice evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.